So yeah, it's kind of been down in the dumps. I'm not gonna lie, but I think our group and my family just been uplifting, kind of just pouring into me. So I'm bouncing back.
In the new format that will be taking place next year, we'd be talking to you ahead of a Game 6 tonight or tomorrow night.
Right.
Having just gone through what will be the last Game 5 finals, 5-game finals that the WNBA has, like, is that something do you think like that's the right setting for the league to have for this? And then just with the expanded schedule of 44 regular season games into best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, does that kind of feel like the best possible schedule that the league could have?
I mean, it ain't really my job to to worry about the things like that on the back end. I mean, obviously we're gonna be tired. I would hope that we get more of a break in between, not like just one day and then gotta play a 7-game series. That's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I mean, I control what I can control, and if that's kind of what they feel like is the best move to make, then I still got a job to do, so I got to do it.
Last one for me. We know you're playing in Unrivaled with Fee and K-Mac. What is, how excited are you to be able to participate in that league? And just before that starts, what's next for you over the next couple months or so?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I mean, I think what Fee and Stu is doing is great for the game. So I'm definitely excited I could be a part of it. And it's in Miami, so that should be pretty lit. But other than that, honestly, what I'm doing during my off season, I got a bike, so I'll be riding my bike. I got a house, so I finally get to decorate it. It's just empty rooms right now. And hanging out with my dog. So this is going to be like my first off season that I could really just sit down and kind of do what I want and not have to go overseas. So shout out to Fee and Stu, man.
You talked so many times this year about how glad you were that you came here.
Yep.
And about the chemistry this team developed. The good news is that all 5 of you guys are under contract for next year. So, but there will be some changes, obviously.
Right.
Do you think that what was special this year, in terms of that chemistry, can be carried over to a second year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, but it took all of us though. Like this group was special because it took literally every last one of us. So, I mean, yeah, you can hope for that same chemistry, but you just never know, man, because everybody brought something different that we needed to make it to where we made it to. So, I mean, you hope for the best, and you hope that, you bring in those same great people. But, again, you got to control what you can control, and I leave that to Cheryl and the GM to bring the personalities and the chemistry together. But, yeah, you hope for the best, and they do a great job of bringing in great people, so I assume that's what they're going to do again.
Courtney, your dad became a bit of a celebrity in these finals, and he's such a low-key guy. How is he handling? How is he handling his newfound notoriety?
Oh man, he's loving it. Oh my gosh, and I love that for him. He called himself Playoff Don. So he told me he showed up the first playoff game, and he literally was like, "Court, I want to be at every game," and he literally was at every single game. So. Shout out to Pops, man. I love that people was able to kind of see his personality, see where I get my personality from, and show him so much love. So I love that for him.
Courtney had a lot of great moments this year. From the time you first came here until now, what has been your favorite moment about being here?
The people, man. I think when you're around great people, it just make every moment worth it, because this is hard. Like playing these games and staying mentally strong, like it's hard to do, but when you're doing it with such a great group of people, it make it easy. It's crazy because I was just talking to Tia about this last night actually, and we was just saying like this time last year I was like, man, I'm about to retire soon. Like I'm getting up there, and now this time now I'm like, all right, I might got a couple more years left in me. So, and again, that's just a testament to this organization, the people that I'm around, just how it just changed my mindset. So, I'm so grateful that I was able to come here.
Courtney, you talked pretty openly about how frustrated you were after that Game 5,
Sure.
but how you weren't kind of able to find your rhythm. as you go into the off season, that's a tough game to go into the off season on. How will that motivate you maybe to to do what you need to do into next year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm motivated in general. Obviously, that ain't the way I wanted to go out because I felt like, I was just popping it the whole time. So to end in that fashion wasn't ideal. But at the end of the day, man, it's basketball. Like, you gotta not get too high, not get too low, stay steady, and keep working on your game. I mean, this is my second year being a point guard, so I definitely think it's so many areas where I can grow and just get better. And I'm excited to be able to do it with, again, this organization.
Courtney, again, you've had a lot of good moments this season. I just wonder if you could speak on the fans. I mean, 2 sellout playoff games. Mike Conley's dancing with your dad, with you guys. Justin Jefferson's at the game. I did go to Wolves practice. Mike Conley even lost his voice at that game. Just what is it like kind of inspiring this city and getting all these fans out there?
Nah, man, it's lit. I love it. I loved how everybody showed up and showed out. Just the support was insane. It was crazy. And to be a part of it, like, I think they had like the most fans we ever had here. Like, that's insane that I'm a part of that. I'm telling y'all, like, it's crazy. Like, for me to even be sitting down watching Maya Moore be retired, I'm like, wow, why am I here? Like, how did I even fall into a situation like this? And like you said, to be able to play in front of so many fans that just show up consistently, it was amazing, man. I love it here. For sure.
Yeah. Kind of on that same note, just years from now, when people ask you about the 2024 season and this 2024 Lynx team, what do you think will be the thing that stands out, and how you think you'll answer that question?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I would answer that question. I think it's just a great season, man. It was a great season. I think it was a season that nobody expected except the ones that really believed in us. So I think for us, we look back on it like we knew what we could do. I think for everybody else, they're going to look back on it and be like, damn, that was a good team.
We'll take our final question from the Zoom. Jordan?
What?
What was it like playing with Fee?
Hmm?
What was it like playing with Fee?
Nah, man, Fee is great. I say this all the time. Fee's such a humble superstar. Being able to play with somebody like her who just shows up and is so coachable. She receives criticism from whoever. She just want to be great. So being able to play with somebody like that, I think it just elevated my game, just helped me be a better version of myself. To be able to see how she lead in the way that she leads, it was amazing. So love playing with Fee.
Thanks, Court.
Appreciate y'all. All right, now.
Hey, Dee. They want us to ask somebody to try a question because they said they patched in sound. Do you want to hit maybe Sophie or? Oh, these people are waiting. Don't we admit them? Submit one.
Do you want me to try joining from?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but that like thing they put up there, black Christmas trees.
Or you can just be like, mic check, mic check.
That's gonna be the throwback. The city is the like white with the little blue at the top. It's the reverse. But they're throwbacks. They're like
So do I need to be unmuted now?
Your settings don't have those.
I think states is gonna be black Christmas trees this year, going away, and city's gonna be the reverse of last year. I mean, they manage that because they can kind of do whatever they want. But like from the rumblings I've heard and from like that TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, I think it's gonna be black. Which I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like I love the late '80s ones. The Wolves with the like old. That was my favorite last year. But I'm pumped to get like an average black Christmas tree. They should really just scrap their home jerseys. There's so many.
Bridget Carlton. I don't know if I can. They all sound the same. Americans, Canadians. Arguably better.
Ken, would you like to start?
Just kidding. Canada's great. The entirety of Canada hates me now.
So first of all, I hope your back's okay after that second fall in Game 5. I know you got some time off before you go to China. You know, just reflecting back on the season, what did you learn about what's possible when a team comes together, and about you in particular, what your potential in this league was?
Yeah, I think when you get all the right pieces together and everybody is willing to put ego aside, you can do great things. And it's kind of like the fairy tale of basketball, you know. It's like a sweet story of you've got all these people who work really hard, who want to win together, who don't care about roles or whatever. They're not interested in the ego side of things. There's no complaining or anything, and then you have success on the back end of it. Like, it's so rare to have a team like that with that culture and mindset, and then also have success on top of it. And it's just like, yeah, kind of like the fairy tale of the basketball world, you know. And it's such a sweet story. And I think despite not having the outcome that we had at the end that we wanted, I think it's like almost inspirational, you know. like to have a team like that do what we did. The human body is an amazing thing. There were so many times in this season where like I was like scared to wake up in the morning and like see if I could walk in the mornings, and I'd get up and be like, oh, I'm actually fine and I'm going to go to practice today and I'm going to run up and down a court again. And I think a lot of it has to do with just like personal mindset and perseverance, but also just like the support staff here have been awesome, and just a will to fight for more success and to fight to win despite what's been thrown at you. And I think that's kind of just been the story of my career. Like it's just been what I've had to develop as a mindset throughout the years anyway.
Now that it's all said and done, and we can maybe talk about this a little freer, I mean, how much pain were you in with your back? I mean, when Jones ran you over in Game 5, I mean, you were crying when you got up. I mean, that's as tough as you are. That had to be extremely, extremely painful. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about what exactly the injury was and how much pain you were in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not 100% sure what the full extent of it is. I know they're saying it's muscular. I'm yet to be scanned, so that's coming up. I've got a bit of time, so just waiting and seeing. But they're saying muscular, which is like best case scenario. So it's just in simplest terms, and this is going to sound really boring and like not exciting, but just a really, really bad bruise. But it's like in a spot in my back and like near a joint that like any movement, anytime I was on my single leg, like my left leg, running, jumping, whatever, like it was just painful to move around, and it was really, really sore to touch as well. So when I landed on it, and then like the force of Jones on me as well, it was just like, yeah, that one hurted.
Yeah, did they? So you'll get some scans and some treatment, and you think you'll be okay to go to China and play?
Yeah, I think so. I really trust medical here and the doctors and their advice. I think rest can do great things for your body and your mind as well. And yeah, I think like once we get those scans and stuff, we get a clearer picture of what's going on. Yeah, I don't have any doubts. That'll be fine.
When you look at where you were a year ago, and now you are here now, what was your favorite moment of this season?
Oh, my favorite moment.
We kind of figured what the least favorite moment was, so.
My favorite moment. God, there's so many like little ones that come to mind. I would say, like coming back from Olympic break, you know, we just had like a bit of success at the Olympics, and I was with a great team in the Olympics too, and like good people and stuff. But then I came back from the Olympic break and was like, we went to practice, and I was just like, damn, like I missed you guys. Like I'm so happy to be here. Like I just won a bronze medal, but like this is sick. Like I love being here. And everyone had the same sentiment. Everyone was so happy to see each other after just like being away for a month, and it's not that long, but everyone was just like so keen to be around each other again, and just like so happy that we were all back together again, which like I don't know, makes it so sad now too, because not only like did we have a rough end to the season, but like we're not going to see each other again for a long time, and that's like devastating to most of us. Like we're just so sad. We were so happy it went to Game 5 because we're like, yes, we get to spend more time with each other.
Alana had a lot of really good moments playing in front of the home crowd as well. I wonder if you could just speak on, you know, what it was like playing in front of those sellout Lynx crowds, Maya Moore's retirement, just kind of all of those things you got to experience at home this season.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of garnered this big fan base. I feel like, and they kind of like over the season it increased as time was going on, and like as we kept playing and stuff, people just like loved the way that we played and like loved us as a unit. And we really felt that every time we were out on the floor. Like, it wasn't just we're here to watch basketball. Like, no, we're here to watch like the Minnesota Lynx like play basketball and the basketball that they loved to watch. And so it felt really personal. Like, there was a really personal connection between us and the Lynx fans. And you can't ask for more than that when it comes to fans. Like, it was just awesome to play in front of them, especially in a finals series too, where they really showed out. Like, we had 19,000 people come out. Like, it was so cool. And then in moments like with Maya Moore's jersey retirement too, like, you could just feel that personal connection. Like, people just like love Maya for who she was as a basketball player, but also who she is as a person. And it's a really nice thing to feel as a player when you have that connection with your fans.
Lana, it's been mentioned a number of times. It's kind of jumping off the, you guys, how much you love spending time with each other. Every offseason it changes, but the starting five under contract for next year, you haven't had a ton of clarity from season to season for the teams you've played for. Just how exciting is it to just know that you all can come back and play with each other once again with this, chip on your shoulder of getting as close as you did?
Yeah, it's exciting. I think sometimes it's like when you finish a season, it's really, really hard to think about the next season coming. And you just want to like take a break and you don't want to think about it for a bit. But I think, I'm not going to speak for all of us, but I would assume that like people are already thinking about next season and what we're going to do and how excited we are to play together again and build on what we already kind of created this year. I think it's going to be a fun time, an exciting time. Where, like I said, I think we're only going to build on what we've already done. We can only get better. So yeah, I think this off season is going to go by pretty quick, and we'll get back to work again next season.
Just to kind of follow up on that, I mean, the starting five can return, obviously, but this team was the chemistry was so incredible and rare, like you said. There are going to be changes. Is there any concern in your mind that kind of level of closeness will be hard to duplicate?
Yes and no. I think just with like the individuals that we had on this team, it made it easy to do. Like, it didn't take much effort for us to build that chemistry. I still think it's possible, but it takes a bit of hard work, just like depending on what you've got. And I also think it starts from like your leadership group and like your people who run the show, like your head honcho. So you got Cheryl, who is committed to creating a good culture, and then you've got Fee and Mackie, who are committed to running the team the right way and holding people accountable and themselves accountable. So I think, with people like that kind of setting the tone, it's definitely possible. I wouldn't say that it would be as easy as it was this year, but you never know. There's always, you can't plan for what's going to happen.
Thanks, Lan.
I don't know yet. I've got like 10 days in between, and it takes like 2 days to get back to Australia. So by the time we get back, I'll have only like 4 days at home and then have to jet over. So I've got like 24 hours to decide. Thank you.
Who would like to start us off?
Hey, BC, I've been kind of asking everyone just, playing in the Target Center in front of sellout postseason crowds, Maya Moore's jersey retirement. I mean, you've been here for a few years, but just what was this season like playing in front of those fans?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, so much fun. You felt the energy, I think, throughout the city the entire season. And, as our success kind of went on, you just felt more and more energy. Even like going to restaurants, walking around town, like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe I wouldn't have been recognized. And now it's like almost guaranteed someone's going to come up to me and say hi, congrats on the season, things like that. So it's cool. I mean, the energy, the arena, just so fun. And I think, it's what our sport deserves. It's what our team deserves. And it's just been a lot of fun to share that with the fans of Target Center.
Bridget, you've been a Lynx for a long time now. What do you think what do you think you'll say years from now when people ask you about this, this 2024 season? That was a historic season in the W, but also this 2024, Lynx team. What do you think, will kind of always stick with you that you'll, think of when thinking of playing on this team?
Good question. I think it's still so close. I think a couple of weeks from now I'll be able to reflect a little better, but I think just an incredible run. Underdog story. No one thought we would be as good as we were. Kind of just a group of veterans that have all had so many different paths that came together to be really successful in such a short period of time. I think that's really special, and just a great group of people that I was able to be around every day. It made it special. But yeah, pretty just incredible run, I think.
And I know the season is still fresh, but do you have an off-season plan? Like, what do the next sort of few months look like for you? I know you had a great season overseas last year. Just curious what your plans are for this winter.
Yeah, going back overseas. I'll be home for a couple weeks and then back to Hungary, the same team I was with last year. So back there.
A lot of through the postseason, Cheryl, other players had always just commented how dependable you are as a person and as a basketball player. What goes into that being kind of a role player for the first part of your career, now a starter, and keeping that kind of same humble dependability?
I think it's how I was raised. I've always just wanted to work as hard as I can, be the best teammate I can be, the things I can control every single day. That's what I pride myself in, showing up. I'm not going to make every shot. I'm going to make mistakes on the court, but as long as I'm like the consistent teammate, a hard worker, coachable, then I'm going to set myself up for success and, be pleasant to be around, because I want people to feel good when they're around me. So that's kind of how I show up to work every day. And I also just love my job, and I love being a part of the Lynx. So that plays into it too.
Well, we know Sunday was a great disappointment, but you had a long season, Olympic break, won the Commissioner's Cup, a lot of high points. When you look back, is there any favorite moment that stands out?
Oof. A couple. Commissioner Cup was obviously incredible. I think it started off our season like on a high, and we knew how good we could be after that win. I think, going to Game 5 in the semifinals and winning at home, that was incredible. The finals obviously was just an incredible highs and lows, but just experiencing that, over 19,000 fans in Target Center, that's going to be like very memorable for me. We've had some incredible games, game winner in Connecticut, so many highs throughout the season that I'll be able to reflect upon in a couple weeks.
All 5 of the starters have a pretty good chance of being back here next year because you're under contract. So there will be some continuity, but there are always changes from one year to the next. Given how kind of great the chemistry was here, can you just talk about, if there's any concerns that it'll be hard to recreate that?
I think the Lynx and Cheryl and Claire always do an incredible job of bringing in good people. And obviously, this team has been really, really special just as humans off the court, and it translated on the court very quickly. And yes, things are never the same year to year. Obviously, we would have loved to, continue this back to back, but that's just not the reality of the WNBA. But they always bring in good people, good basketball players that are going to be great additions to the locker room first. So to recreate, I don't think that's going to be our mindset, is just trying to be the best versions of ourselves next year. And obviously with the group that we have that's on contract for next year, I think it's really exciting and something, hopefully we're not going to be picked 9th to start the season next year.
I think you're second right now.
There we go. That checks out.
Bridget, you made such great strides with your offensive game this year. As you go overseas this winter, what do you think you need to still work on?
I always want to get better every single year. Being aggressive, finding ways to create my own shot, being a facilitator. Overseas, I kind of do everything. I'm kind of asked to do a lot, which is really good for me to be put in those positions consistently, and just expanding my game, being as versatile as I am. Obviously being a three-point shooter, but getting in the post more, driving to the basket, finishing around the rim, things like that, just to be even more of a threat offensively.
Bridget, everyone in this organization and in this market, expected big things out of Fee this year, and saw them take place. Now that the dust has settled a little bit just on the historic postseason that she had, as well. Like, is there any point where she reaches a level where you're like, oh my God, or is it just kind of like, yeah, like that's Napheesa Collier?
The back-to-back 40-point games, or 38 and 42, was pretty incredible. But I think, it's what we've come used to with Fee, and she makes it look so easy. It looks so effortless, but then we need to remind ourselves this is not normal what she's doing, obviously, with all the records in the postseason. Incredible regular season as well. And she just does it with such ease, and she doesn't care about anything other than winning basketball games and, being the best version of herself for this team. So I think that's what's really special about Fee. And it's fun to play with her because she never complains. She always works so hard. She just wants to win. And that's what I love about her.
And just as a follow-up, what's the timing on heading out to Hungary? Do you get a little bit of reprieve, and just kind of when does that season start?
Yeah, it's already started, but I'll get 2 weeks at home before I head over there, luckily.
We'll take one question from the Zoom. Jordan? Jordan, can you re-ask your question, please?
I didn't hear the first part.
Can you repeat it one more time?
I think individually, I was just proud of the step I took offensively. Obviously, playing more, being a consistent starter, being confident on the offensive end consistently for however many minutes I was playing. I think that's what I'm most proud of, and just being a threat at all times when I'm on the court. And this offseason, excited to take a break for a couple weeks, and then I just love playing, so I'm excited to go overseas and continue to play and get better and travel the world a little bit, but excited to rest first.
Thank you, BC.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Now you've had a day or so to let it all kind of decompress. Is it possible to get over the disappointment of what happened on Sunday and look at the whole season and appreciate what you guys were able to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to be appreciative of this team and, like, see how special this season was. I think that loss is something I'll never get over. to have it in that way where it just feels super unjust. I don't think that's something that I'll be able to get over. It's different if you feel like you lose a game. But it's really easy to love this team. I mean, we got back yesterday, we had all of our medical, and still we were like, let's go to one last dinner together because we'll never be the same group again. So this team is just really close, and I'm so proud of everything we did this year, and we're so close to getting our goals. So yeah, it's a really tough ending.
All 5 starters are under contract for next year, so that's good. But like you said, you'll never be this particular group again because there'll be changes. Can you just talk about what it'll take to maintain the kind of chemistry you built this year going forward? Because obviously it starts with you.
Yeah, I think having the majority of us back in all 5 starters is a huge step towards that. And the culture starts with us. We're the majority. We've been here the longest. So bringing that in with any new people we have, just really bringing them under our fold. We have such a solid foundation. So making sure that we see what happens when you have a team that's as close as that. So making sure that we cultivate that for next year.
The last one for me is you talk about the injustice of Game 5 and how it won't ever leave you. Can it also be a motivating factor to take the next step?
I mean, it motivates me to never try to have the game that close again where it could be decided by whoever it was decided by. So, yeah.
Fia, I've been asking everyone just, playing in Target Center, you've been here for a while. What was it like playing this season in front of the sellout crowds, athletes of different sports coming out to support, and just kind of lighting that fire in the city? Could you just speak to what that was like?
It was amazing. The crowds that we had, especially, in the final series, breaking records, 19,000 people cheering for you is such a high. It was so fun. And I think it just really epitomizes everything that we always talk about, the Lynx fan base being just always, rooting for us and there for us and showing out for our teams. So that was such an amazing environment. I've never played in front of something like that.
And then last one for me, just, everyone all season have just spoken about how graceful of a leader you are. I wonder if you could just speak of what goes into that. What is kind of that mindset that you bring to bring that type of attitude every game?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely try to bring just my natural personality to the group and try to be the best leader in the ways that I can. I think just taking from who I thought the best leaders in my life were, just taking pieces from them and making it my own, and trying to lead by example a lot with the team. I've definitely trying to be more vocal these past couple years, and I feel like I'm coming into my own in that way. And this was such an easy group. I mean, to be able to have so many people who are so coachable and everyone is down for the same goal. It doesn't matter who gets the recognition. It doesn't matter, we had multiple people have game winners throughout this entire season, and everyone's equally happy for, the success of one is success for all, and that's truly our mindset. So, yeah, I just try to kind of bring that.
Fee, you've touched on this a little bit already, but just I'm thinking years from now when people ask you about this, 2024 season of the W and the 2024 Lynx team specifically, what do you think will stand out, for you about this team that will, stand the test of time?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard because that last game really tarnishes it, doesn't it? But I think team-wise, this is my favorite team I've ever been on, and I think just the relationships and the bonds that we've formed is something that will stay for a long, long time, for years, forever. So that's something that I'll definitely look back on really positively. Is just the relationships of this year and the team chemistry, and just this is how a team is supposed to feel. So I'll remember that forever.
And then in the more short term, obviously Unrivaled is a big undertaking for you in your career. When do you need to be down there to get make sure that thing gets started, and just kind of what's next for you these last few weeks of October and
Mm-hmm.
November?
Yeah, so players report January 2nd, but I'll be going early, shortly after Christmas. But yeah, just really, really excited for that. Excited to take some time off and, go on vacation, see my family, be home for the holidays. So just some downtime the next couple of months, weeks.
Well, we know how Sunday ended on a down note, but there were a lot of great moments in this entire season. You look at the Olympics, the Commissioner's Cup. What is a standout positive moment that you have from this season?
I think a couple like on the court ones was BC's, game winner in Connecticut was really fun, and then Courtney's game winner tire for the overtime in game 1 was really fun. Like those are just really great because you see the people putting in so much work, and to see them like do that in such a huge moment and to get the recognition that they deserve, and just to see like the joy for them and their families and for the team, that's really special to see, and they deserve it so much. So it was really fun to witness that and be a part of it, and also just like really happy for them because they deserve everything.
Fia, I know you've been asked about your conditioning a lot, but it's still kind of astounding. A lot of players go to the Olympics, they come back, and at some point late in the season they hit a wall. Not only did you not hit a wall, but you played your best basketball in the playoffs. How were you able to do that?
Thank you. I don't know. I mean, I always have tried to keep my body in the best shape that I can, making sure I'm doing my conditioning in the off season. And I really knew that this year was going to be a grind, just really, really hard. So I took that super seriously in the off season. I think I naturally do condition pretty well, but I definitely try to take all the steps that I could to make sure that I was in the top shape that I could be in, because I mean, it's going to be a grind, but you don't even know how bad it is until you're in it. So I'm definitely glad that I put that work in this off season.
Yeah, what did you learn about yourself, particularly over the last couple of games of that final series where you there was a lot on your shoulders and you had to play really, really well?
Excuse me. I think just being able to push through, because I'm glad you said I didn't hit a wall. It felt like I did. It's really tiring.
You would know better than me.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look like it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that, that's the goal. I feel like where I grew is just mentally is no one, it doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter, if your body hurts or if anything, like it just matters if you show up for your team and you perform. So I really came in with that mindset where, especially in the finals, like we have so little games left with this team, and we've talked ad nauseum about how special, we think this team is. So you want to give them your best and give them your all. So it was, easy to kind of push past all of that for them. Sorry, guys, I'm getting sick.
Sorry. One just off the court thing that I wanted to ask you about. I know you recently partnered with Opil, the first of its sort of kind, over the counter birth control availability. Just what is that? What is that? Project in terms of importance to you? How did you get connected with them? And just like what is the message with partnering them, and the goal for that partnership for you?
Yeah, that's something I'm really excited for. I think just like our goals are so aligned, and they're what they stand for. I just so believe in just making sure that women are up to date on what their options are. They know that they have something that's affordable, that's accessible, that you can get, that you don't have to talk to a doctor about, especially now when healthcare is like not accessible for everybody. And making sure that people are aware of their sexual health. I think for so long there's a stigma around not wanting to talk about that because it's like an embarrassing topic. So super excited because in this off season I'll be going to campuses to talk about it, just to kind of get rid of that stigma a little bit, because I think it's so important, especially now in an election year where we're voting right now. To be aware of your sexual and reproductive rights is a really huge thing. So I'm really excited about that.
Just a moment ago, you mentioned in an answer to one of Pat's questions about your conditioning, how you took an extra emphasis in the off season to get into this year. Now that we're at the end of this year, what's your timeline like when it comes to rest versus start to condition for next year, for those of us who don't know?
Yeah, I'll be taking a while off. I mean, just relaxing, like I said. And I have to be ready for January. So I think usually my build-up starts, like the hard build-up starts about 6 weeks from when I need to be somewhere. And then obviously like I'll be focusing on like strength training a lot this season. So doing that, but like the hard conditioning to get ready for game shape usually starts about a month and a half before I have to be there.
We have time for one final question from the Zoom. Jordan.
Hey, Fee. First, I just want to say congrats on an amazing season. And then this is kind of a fun question. I just want to talk about your outfits throughout the season. You've had some really iconic looks. I guess just talk about who styles you and what was your favorite look from this season?
Kimberly Stewart styles me. And yeah, it's been really fun to just kind of explore that side. It's such a huge part of our game now, culture-wise, is tunnel fit. So it's been fun to, you wear stuff that you wouldn't like necessarily wear in real life. So that's been really fun. My favorite, I don't know. I really like that little pilot-looking outfit jumpsuit that I wore, the blue one with the red shoes. I felt like I was in Top Gun, so that was fun. Thank you. I actually have no idea. Because I ask every day, I'm like, oh, who's coming out today? I don't know what the media plan is. So, I don't know. When you find out, I'll find out. I see it on social media the same time.
Should we reach out to you directly for credentials to go to Miami in January?
What'd you say?
Should we reach out to you directly for media credentials?
Yeah, come on down. Get your tan on while you're there.
For sure. Bye, Pete.
Loaded question.
Who would like to start us off with Matt?
Am I just going?
I know you probably haven't had much time to reflect on this season, and certainly Sunday undoubtedly leaves a bad taste in your mouth. When you think about this group and you think about this season, what do you take away from it?
I have a lot of pride in this group. We've been talking about it all season long. Everybody was like so shocked that it was so good from the jump, and we just kind of meshed very well. But the women, the people in that locker room, are so special. And you never know how it's gonna go. When you come to training camp, especially, we only had a couple returners. You never know how it's gonna go. And so I was just very, very impressed with our resilience, our toughness, problem solving, figuring it out. And like I was talking yesterday, everybody was in the right part of their journey for us to come together when we did. And that was the best part because it was very organic. And I just enjoyed coming to work every single day. And obviously we came short of our goals. They had us 9th to start the season, whatever. And here we are, playing in the last game, playing, an extra 5 minutes of the season to win a championship. And yeah, it hurts, it sucks, but I have a lot of pride in what we were able to accomplish as a group this year.
Fee was just in here telling us that she thinks that the losses Sunday was something that she's never going to get over.
Yeah.
Does it feel that way to you too?
For sure. I think I said it in my halftime interview too. I just wanted it so bad, and the chips fell as they did. But I don't think I'll ever get over it. I still catch myself turning off social media, or I'm supporting my teammates and things like that. But it's hard to see. It's hard to replay it in your mind, especially when you're out there. It's hard, and as an athlete, that's what you live for, is to play in championship games and things like that. But it's definitely gonna sting for a while.
Fee was saying that even yesterday after you guys did all your medical stuff, that everybody's like, we got to go out to dinner one more time because this group was so.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the group will be back next year. You're starting 5, but it won't be the same, right? Every team has a slightly different chemistry. As you remember what worked this year, knowing that there'll probably be some changes going into next year, what's the key to kind of keeping that chemistry and taking the next step?
Well, obviously, having our starting 5 is really, really valuable because I think we learned a lot with each other. I think we figured out how to get through hard times together. We went to 2 Game 5 series in the playoff run. That builds character, that builds cohesion, that builds trust, that builds belief within that group. And I think, like I said, it's about the people that you're going to war with, and I think we learned a lot about each other internally. And so whatever happens, we want to continue to build on that because that was what really got us through the hardest times. And so knowing that our starting 5 is coming back and we're going to be able to build on that, and with this sour taste in our mouth, I'm very, very excited. Obviously you want to have rest and things like that, but I'm so excited to get back in the gym because I know how amazing we can really be if we lock in, and we can still do a lot of amazing things in the future.
Looking back to last year's exit interviews,
oh God.
all the way through, don't worry, I'm not going to go that far back, but just kind of starting at the end of last season, going all the way through having dinner last night. You made a lot of good memories, a lot of good moments this last season. Looking back now, I know it hasn't been much time, but are there any 1 or 2 favorite moments that stand out? We had the Commissioner's Cup, the finals, a whole bunch of things.
The Commissioner Cup was a special moment because I think that was the first time we really believed in each other, that we could really do something special, And when you have that I love that they put that in the middle of the season because I think it gives an extra intensity where it can become monotonous. So you have this extra intensity. They get bringing out the different balls, and you're playing for something a little bit different. So I think we learned a lot about each other in those moments. But then I think that moment when we made it to the finals, that Game 5 here, it was just really special. And the thing that's most special for me is that we just did it together. It's a collective. Yes, Fee's had an amazing, phenomenal season, but doing it together, and she feels the same way, just being able to do it together as a collective. I think that's the most special part because it wasn't just one moment, it was a multitude of moments, and we did it all together. Courtney's shot, there's so many things that happened throughout the season. It's just wow, the trust and belief that we had in one another. Those are the memories that you have, that feeling of being in that locker room and, just
being with your sisters every day, it's kind of hard to explain because it's kind of unheard of, especially in professional sports, to have that much chemistry in a locker room and cohesion. And I think, like I said, it's very, very rare because this is the best of the best, you know? We're the best women's basketball players in the world. And so there's always ego, but having the ego checked at the door and being able to still, like, do it as a collective is very, very rare. So I was just really impressed with how he carried it, and everybody had their moments throughout the season. But I would definitely say the Commissioner Cup, and then that Game 5 here against Connecticut was unbelievable.
And K-Mac, speaking about playing here in Minneapolis, you've been here for a few seasons now. I mean, this season, Maya Moore's jersey retirement, sellout crowds in the finals. Just what was it like playing in this city this season?
Man, Minnie showed out. Obviously, you know, you heard about, like, the dynasties and, like, you see all the pictures of, like, what it was like for the teams that were in the finals before. But actually being a part of it this year, oh, it was so awesome, man. And that's what you live for as an athlete, as a pro athlete, too. Like, I would catch myself, like, just kind of looking up, like, in those finals games, or even our playoff, like, our, you know, semifinal games and things like that. But I'm just very grateful for our mini fans, like, just showing out. You know, New York had 17,000, whatever, came back with like 19,000. Or I'm like, man, come on, you know. And that's a lot of pride. Like, we have pride in that too, you know. And so knowing that they show out, like, we take pride in that, what we put on the court too, when we know that they're showing up and showing out for us. So it was awesome, man. Our fans have been so loyal. You know, we started 0-6, starting 0-7, they still showing up. And just the belief. I think we just reignited that belief. Obviously, the Wolves had a great run last year, but especially for women's basketball and where it is now, like, reigniting that belief. We were just talking, like, the amount of, like, people that come up to us, like, even I'm just out just having, you know, dinner or whatever, and the amount of people that come up and, like, hey, we're following with you, you know, we're rooting for you, we're cheering for you. Like, it's been more and more each year, and especially this year, it's been awesome. So thank you. Like, I just want to say thank you to them because, you know, they really showed out for us, and it was a big, big part of why we were able to make such a deep run.
And then K-Mac, last one for me, kind of all season, you know, even Lon today was crediting your leadership, just how you do everything on the court from, I mean, even Game 5 guarding Sabrina better than she's been guarded in years. Just what is it about kind of how you approach the game that allows you to have that leadership and then also just kind of do everything?
Yeah, I'm very, very, very competitive. I always feel like there's more that I can give. I've been very, very fortunate to have the coaching staff that we do. Katie Smith has been a big part of my growth too. Just being able to find ways to be better at the game within the game. I take a lot of pride in that. Like, and I wasn't gonna say this, but I think that we've lost, especially in WNBA, like that. Like, we see Stewie and Asia and Fee, like, they're going at each other, they guard each other. And I feel like as a guard in this league, like, I take a lot of pride in guarding the best player, and I feel like it should be vice versa. Like, you know, like, I think that we should take pride in that. And I found, you know, an extra ignition in that, like, taking value and having pride in guarding the other team's best guard. And I want that same thing, you know, I want that same smoke. So I feel like that's something that we've lost as guards in our league is, like, you know, I take a lot of pride in guarding other team's best players. There's only some teams that have that, you know, Jackie Young, Cloud, like, they'll take a lot of pride in that, but not too many others. And I really, really find joy in taking on that challenge of guarding the other team's best guard. And I think that's kind of lost. Like, I feel like the 4s and 5s in our league, they take a lot of pride in guarding each other, and we're always talking about that, the Alyssa Thomases and blah, blah, blah. But as guards, like, I feel like that's something that we've kind of lost. So, but to speak on your question, I just, you know, as you grow, you get older and you mature, you realize your value is so much more than just scoring and putting the ball in the basket. And I've had a lot of joy. I found a lot of joy in finding other ways to make our team better, whether that's leadership, whether that's defense, whether it's whatever, just talking more. You know, I'm very competitive in that way with myself, but also just want to be the best version of myself for my teammates. And I found a lot of joy in this group too. You know, like Lan said, just finding ways to be a leader, whatever that means, you know, finding ways to win, helping Fee be Fee and helping Lan be Lan and Court be Court. Like, you know, there's so many different things that I feel like I can do in my experience to help them be the best version of themselves. And like I said, I just find joy in competing in that way.
Kayla, you've always been very open about how much this organization means to you. And then mutually, you know, at the announcement for your new contract at the end of last season, Coach said, K-Mac is at the root of all of the good that happens with us. The bond between you two and just you and this organization has always been strong. I'm just wondering if you could share a few words on just how much stronger that bond, has gotten through another season, and just, how much it grew even stronger this year.
It's hard to put into words like what Minnie has meant to me in so many ways. We don't talk about like what's going on off the court. It's always we just talk about things. But this has been like some of the hardest 6 months of my life, like personally. And so I'm just very, very thankful internally that I have this group that I do. And that it speaks, and it goes way deeper than like I can sit and talk about. But the people that I go to work with every day, like from Claire to Cheryl to Katie, BBEP, like everybody, Brandy, Chuck, like A-Train, like there's just so much love. And I'm built on that. I'm built off loyalty. I'm very, very loyal to the soil, like homegrown, like small town kid. Like those things go so much deeper for me. And so to feel like I have family in such a chaotic world that is basketball, being a professional athlete, you carry that with you, you know what I'm saying? And that's why you see the success, and that's why you see like the confidence, is because I have family behind me, and I genuinely believe that. And that doesn't happen a lot in pro sports. It's up and down. It can be this and that. And I genuinely feel like I have family behind me, and that's why I feel like I can go out and be myself and be confident and play the way that I do, because it's built off love, and it's built off, genuine loyalty. Like I want to be the best version of myself for this organization. And I said that before last year. We started 0-6. We made a playoff run, and I was like, I can't wait to come back, because I knew that we had something special. We were building putting those roots down, that foundation, and obviously we added T, court, land, and kind of went crazier than I expected, but in a good way, And I think it was, like I said, it's just built off love. Even with the things that I've built with Fee, that trust. I have so much belief in her, and just watching her bloom as a superstar in this league, and then watching Court do her thing, and it's been a collective, and I just been very, very fortunate, because saying that I'm playing some of the best basketball at 32, I don't know if I would have been doing that if I would have went somewhere else or anything like that, but just the belief that I've been able to gain from being around these people every day. It's just hard to put into words, because it doesn't always happen that way. And it just makes me want to come back even better, because I know how much love and appreciation I have for this organization. I just want us to be the best, and I want to bring a championship here so bad. And because we deserve it. This city deserves it. This organization deserves it. My teammates. So I know that I'm a big part of that, and so it just makes me want to go harder and get better and be the best version of myself. So I just have so much love for this place.
As far as sort of like immediate next steps, we know you're playing with Fee and Court in Unrivaled this year.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Just as far like when do you, Fee talked about players reporting, January 2nd, from now until then, just kind of, what's next for you? Do you just get to get a reprieve? Just kind of what are you going to do from now until then?
Oh gosh. I'd be normal, I guess. Normally, I'm like on my halfway to Istanbul already, so I'm very much looking forward to like just passing out Halloween candy. I got a house in Charlotte, just hanging out with my fam, not really doing a whole lot, like just being normal, like hosting Thanksgiving and just being K. Honestly, I think that I've been on go for a while. I've been overseas and doing all those things. And Istanbul has been a really big part of my life. Fenerbahce was a big part of my life. But just being able to be Kayla and hang out, also just training, kind of building from the ground up, being able to get back in the gym and work on things that I really want to work on, and not in the season aspect, like playing games, but like actually getting in the gym. I'm very much looking forward to that. And just enjoying life, too, Just I want to take some trips. I want to go to Napa. There's so many things that I want to do. Going to football games, big Steelers fan. Sorry, guys, but big Steelers fan. So I'm going to the Ravens game with my brother. Like just going to Billie Eilish concert here in Minnie. Just doing the things that I genuinely enjoy to do off the court, which is like music, sports. I love to cook. Just kind of exploring and I'm on my world tour now, so I'm excited about that. Thanks.
Well, while you're on your world tour, for those of us who don't know what the grind is like for a pro athlete, you just finished up a really grueling season, but you're already talking about ready to come back next year.
Oh, yeah.
You want to come back and kind of handle unfinished business. But what is it like on the scheduling aspect of things between resting from this season and then training and getting prepared for the next? I mean, when does that switch kind of occur?
It's different for everybody. Everybody, has their own way of doing things. Like, if I was 25, it might look a little different than what it looks like when I'm 32. I don't know what it looks like. I'm actually excited to see that part too. I really want to get in the gym with like other guards too around the league. I just, I'll talk with A-Train. A-Train has been amazing for me. Like, shout out her. I think that was such a big addition for us. And I think, having that schedule with her is going to be huge. We have a lot of trust in her. I think she just showed I've had like 119 weight training sessions with her just this summer. You don't really realize like all the things that you put on your body. Like, we ran like 110 miles just like between practices, shoot around and whatever, which is crazy to think about. That doesn't even include games. So, I think that first, like, just genuinely turning everything off, I kind of want to couch rock for a little while. I put a theater room in my house. I want to watch a lot of football. I want to catch up on all my shows and like just chill for a little bit. But then I would say probably like mid-November, just kind of ramping things back up because, we obviously play in January. But I just want to get back in the gym and work on all those things. But I think it's just giving yourself like 2 to 3 weeks to kind of come down from everything mentally as much as like spiritually and physically. It's like the whole gamut, it's not just sitting down and like not touching the ball. It's like mentally, like physically, like emotionally, it was really hard what just happened on Sunday. So just coming down from that, I'm still trying to process all of those things, but I think like mid-November, just revving everything back up and giving myself like those 6 weeks to really just like lock in on all the things that I feel like I want to get better at. And I'm excited about that part because it's really, I'm just going to be kind of trial and error figuring it out. And A-Train and I already have a plan to figure that out with my body and things like that. But just, as far as basketball, just working all the things like that I feel like I can get better at and help this team be better for these situations coming up. So I'm excited to get back in the gym and just kind of work on everything because I haven't had time. I've been overseas 9 years out of my 11 pro years, so I'm excited.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thanks. Sorry, I feel like I was rambling.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, I will.
Enjoy that game.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will.
you're looking at like who you could take from the Lynx, like Diamond's probably the most good rookie season, second overall pick.
Yeah, because if
She is athletic and
because no team will, I don't think, you don't do any good game days without protecting unrestricted free agent.
right.
Well, because everyone will have the same rights.
What was really interesting over the finals was how much the ESPN like commentators were talking about how bad he's been hurt all year, and it's like
I didn't.
is
People
that
were
something that
complaining to me
inside the
constantly
Lynx
about the
were like
ESPN broadcast, but I
pushing
didn't
out?
see a second.
I was just hearing that, and I was wondering if that's something the Lynx were kind of.
Well, you wonder how the season would have gone different if he hadn't gotten hurt, too. It would have gone worse.
Bridget was incredible.
They would have figured it out.
Yeah, but, yeah.
But it
it's
takes
not
an
the
extra
same.
15 games.
Sure.
And they're 8-7 instead of 12-3. Like,
They didn't lose back-to-back games until he got hurt. So yeah, it was kind of fun. It wasn't like a buzzsaw though. They would like win 3, lose 1, win 4, lose 1, win 2, lose 1.
Until the All-Star.
Until he came back.
And then he was like, I just got better in Paris. And that
Courtney also, like I was looking at her pre-post splits, and she came back from that break too, and was just a completely different player. Yeah.
Starting off the overtime period going 4-3. But they were all good. Two of the three were really, were hurt.
Well, even Bridget's one to win it. That's her shot. Or K-Mac took the
K-Mac,
last shot.
yeah, you know what, when
And
she
that's
got
her
that shot, I
shot.
thought that's good.
Yep. When she came off the screen, I was like, all right, it's over.
They look good, and then they didn't drop.
So with you guys being like at the post-game press conference, when did all the stuff come in of like because you obviously saw like the replay on Stewie and all of that, but did you guys start getting all of the like, oh my gosh, he traveled, it took like 7 steps?
I didn't really know she traveled or not.
Okay.
I don't even know if Cheryl had seen how, because
I don't think she had either.
at the game it didn't look like a travel.
Yeah, it
I
was.
didn't notice it, and then, yeah, I don't totally blame them for missing that call. I kind of blame the league that there's no guardrails. Like,
I think that's what, and Cheryl, like, honestly, it's weird. Like, she didn't get as much heat as I think even she thought she was going to, but like,
Well, I'm sure she got fined a
they,
good bit.
but
But
they
it's because everybody knew they were just right.
Like, how do you let the guy that blew the whistle look at? Like, when my wife finds out that I ate the last of the chips, like, and then if there's a replay of who ate the last of the chips and it's me doing the replay, like,
no, what do you mean?
yeah, it wasn't me.
Sounds like a commercial.
I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, you know, I love that reference. The red flag commercial with
Yeah.
your husband and wife. I think
That's what I'm saying, but the person getting the flag thrown on him is getting to do the replay. I don't understand how they.
Well, the thing is, if you look at Roy Galvan, he was here in '99 when the league, when the Lynx first started. I've watched him all throughout these years, and then there's two things he calls most frequently: traveling. If Roy is there, don't travel, because he will usually, although didn't catch it in Stewie's case, but he will usually catch it. If you move that pivot foot, he'll nail you for it. The other is, when you're going up, you can't lean over. And if the hands are up and leaning over, he will blow the whistle. Whether or not there's contact made, he will blow the whistle. And when you look at that play, even though there wasn't contact, the hands are over a little bit, enough for him to blow the whistle, and then they'll figure it out later.
Right.
And
I
that's
think the problem
because
is-
he's one of the older officials.
That, I was gonna say, I think that's the problem. Is he blew the whistle, but there wasn't no figuring it out later. You do. Well, that's the worst part
egos are a thing, and like that ref probably has an ego, or at least pride.
Well,
Getting
if
screamed at
as
by
the
all these
commissioner
boys.
is constantly reminding us that the officiating is good, well, if it's good, then why did that happen? but she is so.
I'm not rooting for that. That's
I don't think Fee forgets about me.
We would.
I think Courtney Williams forgets about me.
I don't think K-Mac will forget about this.
She's just gonna have that call. She's gonna have screens in her house. Just to have that call playing
But
on
can't,
stage.
with Courtney though, this is her second finals and she's come up short. That one, that burns.
Third one for C.
Yeah.
And second one for Smith.
Smith is almost at Saturday.
Not like a huge player, but
Yeah, probably.
second one for.
They're not high enough. Asia's gonna be the favorite.
Asia will be the runaway favorite.
And then probably Stewie
But-
as second.
But Vegas will take a step back next year.
Yep.
Or they'll just, they kind of did that this year.
I think they're gonna take it. I don't think.
I don't think one's going back and Chelsea Gray.
Chelsea Gray did show signs.
Just time and injuries are probably there. She was awesome post-Olympic break, but they clearly slowed down in the postseason. She was bad in the Olympics.
Yeah. I think.
I walked back my Caitlin Clark should not be the Olympic team take pretty hard once I saw how slow.
WNBA 2025 MVP odds, number 1 Wilson, number 2 Clark, number 3 Stewart, and then Collier.
I'm driving
You go down to Iowa.
I'm driving to Iowa after this and betting on that.
I'm gonna be honest, that's, again, Asia, if the
She's
Aces.
plus 650. Where you at, Ken? I Googled it. It's on, who wrote
Is
it?
that BetMGM or?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Covers.com.
What the fuck is that? We're all about to carpool down to Iowa.
According to covers.com, it's Wilson, Clark, Collier. That's a betting site? Yeah. And, Asia Wilson's plus 200, Clark's plus 250, and Napheesa plus 7. I would definitely think it'd be a better betting.
A lot of that is just making sure you get action on all sides.
Yep. Well, and
Gotta
people
be
are gonna
early on.
bet Clark regardless.
Yeah.
Whatever money's in my pocket, putting on feed.
I'm gonna be texting some friends in Indiana.
The look on her face, like.
Again, Asia might have her best season yet if the Aces are just Asia Wilson and no one else.
But, you know,
But
Clark,
B,
I
I mean,
And, you know, they were a pretty good team in the second half.
They were pretty
Yeah.
good.
I mean, if they can hit the ground running with maybe an addition or two, they're gonna be a factor.
Yeah.
and again, they have money to spend. They don't really have.
But haven't you heard Stephen A. and Sharon Sharp? No one in the league likes Caitlin Clark, so no one's going on. That's what they're saying.
No.
They're blown.
Steven Smith loves Caitlin.
He loves Caitlin Clark. He said everyone in the league loves Caitlin Clark. And being unfairly mean to her.
Mean girls.
I don't know, I watched
The WNBA is just
B get a four.
Charles Barkley said the same thing.
Face.
So did Bill Simmons. All these guys who have been watching the WNBA closely for 20 years and know their stuff.
I mean, I can't speak a ton because like, before I hopped onto this beat this season, like, it had probably been like 3 years since I watched W consistently.
You know who the best is making that? She did some shit.
Yeah.
But you didn't publish a single nefarious article about how players are
No.
targeting Caitlin Clark.
No, because at the same time, it's like I know basketball. I watch basketball like constantly. So it's like it's the same thing in the NBA.
You didn't have a headline that was like,
I'm here. How's everybody doing? Good.
Give it to the veteran.
There you go. There you go. Seasoned.
I mean, 2 days to decompress from all the emotions of Sunday. You know, where you stand at this point. Clearly, you felt the team was wronged on Sunday. Do you see that? Fee said she'll never forget it. Are you with her on that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the unfortunate part. You know, trying to keep the focus on the players today is where I was. I think it's probably best. Unfortunately, I have experience in this, and I have a lot of feelings about it. But I think probably today would want to focus on the players in this season, because I think something like this, you know, soiling, you know, the amazing, you know, season that we had, and we all know. I mean, I don't need to say anything. We all know what happened, you know, at this point, it's, you know, spending our time, you know, the last 5 hours, spending our time, you know, just looking forward and what's next for us.
I think it was, I can't remember now who said it. One of the players said that even yesterday, after all the physicals, all the team just said we got to go out and have dinner together, just because we don't want this kind of chemistry to end.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked all year about that chemistry.
Yeah.
And you got your starting 5 under contract for next year, but there will be some changes. I mean, when you see what chemistry can do, I mean, does that affect the way you go about changing this roster with whatever changes you deem necessary?
Yeah, it's not unlike most off seasons. You know, we got more intentional after we got a little more lax with, you know, coming out of the bubble season. We were looking for some things, and, you know, maybe we didn't have all the information that we are, you know, made a conscious return to prior to this year, so last off season. You know, because we have the group that we have, we will scrutinize, absolutely. We don't think we need major changes. But as you said, there will be changes, because it's never the same 12 players. We have, you know, a couple free agents. We have an expansion draft. And so we'll have to, you know, sort of start to cross those bridges. And, you know, I think each season is so different. So to expect that just because you have the same starting 5 back, that it's going to be the same magical, you know, whatever. It's really hard to recreate what this season was, this journey was. Doesn't mean that it can't be another special journey, but it's just going to look different. People change, you know. People maybe, you know, want something a little different than what they had last year. You know, so all the places that we were special, and, you know, I know I shouted out Diamond, Peely, Ollie, just in terms of their situations were hard when they're not seeing the floor at all, and the toll that it can take on you. The maturity that Diamond and Ollie, in particular, as young players, in this world that we live in, with all the noise on social media and the places that they frequent, you know, it can be really hard to be mature and not think of yourself and how you're feeling, and then therefore that impacts the team, and it weighs on the team, and it pulls and tugs at the group, and it becomes a drain. And so it was really special. Ollie, you know, like maybe as a vet you can understand it, but sometimes vets are the hardest people, you know, teammates to be around, because they have an opinion of themselves. And I think having those types of people are what made it go. And I really, that was one of the first things I said post-game, was that watch Ollie on our bench. Watch Peely throughout the season. You know, Diamond, you know, who went from starting to being out of the rotation completely by the time it got to the end. Watch Ollie's engagement as they came off the floor. Watch Ollie, you know, telling the coaches, you know, when somebody gets a foul before they even have it written down, that's 3 fouls on BC. You know, so engaged in the game, or a matchup that she liked, or those are the things that, like for me, like you remember all the great times of the play and the basketball, et cetera. But those things, that never leaves you. Those memories never leave you. because it's part of what made it so special. And so we're going to have changes there, and we hope to emulate that mature behavior once again, because it's worth points in a game, wins in a season, and that's what you saw from us this year.
You're heading into kind of an unprecedented off season coming up. I mean, you got the expansion draft to prepare for. I don't know if you can speak to any specifics on what your thinking has been there, but also with this opt out by the PA, there's going to be a lot of people out there looking for 1-year deals. Do you anticipate a lot of movement, and how do you approach what could be almost like a Wild West situation?
Yeah. I think with regard to free agency, we've known this for a while. It's been a few years now that players were signing shorter contracts. Nobody wanted to get past 25 in anticipation of an opt-out, so that's not a surprise to us, the opt-out. And I think we've been in this space of shorter contracts, et cetera. I don't know what percentage of the league, 85, 90% of the league is going to be unrestricted. It is unprecedented, so I don't have any idea, in terms of navigating. We just want to take care of our players, and we've always believed in that. We don't want to be a team that has to use a core on players. We want to be a team that has players that want to be here and on their own volition. And so I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. When we we have also players that are moving from their prime to the latter part of their prime, and so that's the couple years from now. It's a long ways away from now, and we are well positioned for next year, and that's our focus.
Coach, related to that, we've heard players come in here today, and each one touch on how much this organization means to them, and just how much they love being a Lynx and being part of this culture. And unsurprisingly, K-Mac has a lot to gush about. Just how much this organization means to her. And I just remember last year when she got her new contract, you mentioned K-Mac is at the root of all of the good that happens for us. Just the bond between K-Mac and this organization has always been very strong. But just how gratifying was it for that bond continue to grow this season, especially with kind of the special season that she had on the floor?
Yeah, I mean that's what you're happy when someone like K-Mac experiences the joy of playing. I will always remember K-Mac, and I will always use her as an example of a veteran treating the young players that she did last year the way she did. They're on the court with her, and it would have been very easy for K-Mac to be frustrated with all the mistakes that Diamond and Dorka were making on the court. And her decision, conscious decision, to lead and enjoy leading and going through the lumps together is something I will always remember. It's one of the greatest examples of who she is. She's a big sister. That's what she is, by nature, and she comes from, the oldest, and has the youngest that's just going off to college now. I'm sure she draws on those experiences, and the investment she makes in her siblings is the same thing that I saw the investment she was making in the young players in Diamond and Dorka. And then this team, I think the ways that she understands the game. The freeness that she approached the game with this year, the joy, shooting the basketball and, having the run that she did percentage-wise, it was unbelievable. Yeah. The shots that she was making and her preparation, work ethic, who she is as a teammate, all those things, it just makes you really happy. When it all, things that you say that could happen for a player, when it all happens, makes you feel pretty darn good. And, being an all-star, being second team, those things are huge. They're not small. And happy for K-Mac that she feels about the organization the same way we feel about her.
And also going back to the beginning of this season, you had mentioned the great season overseas that BC had last year. We talked with her today. She's going to the same team in Hungary, getting started there in 2 weeks. Was that a conversation that you had with her? And is that, going to a place where she's already had success, how helpful can that be for her to continue to evolve and take another step with the Lynx next season?
Yeah, I still have a couple more interviews, and she's one of them. But there's, logically speaking, I think that the evolution for her to go from the season last year there, the WNBA, the season she had, I suspect that team in Hungary is very excited to see her because she's going to be even better than what she was last year. And she was a big reason why they were successful last year. And so to get that back, I'm sure they're super excited. And, BC will always just continue to get better and grow. And, I'm happy for her because she's been patient. And finally, in year 6, when it gets to this place of she got the opportunity to be a starter, she made the absolute most of it.
Cheryl, you mentioned how Diamond went from a starter to basically not playing at the end of the year. Was she ever really healthy after she came back from the knee injury? And I wonder how much that may have hindered her development and her ability to get back into the rotation.
Yeah, I think she got to that place. I mean, it was, I have to kind of go back and remember the timing of it, but I know she worked her tail off to get back for the start of training camp, coming off the off-season surgery. And then I can't remember exactly the timing of it, but I know we played a few games. And then she had, we were actually in Connecticut. We played a few games, and she tweaked the knee in Connecticut. And, I can't remember exactly, which knees and all that stuff, but I just know that she was out. When she came back from that, I do think she would tell you that she felt healthy. I don't think the knee was a hindrance. I think it just was, I think for her from a playing standpoint, to go from not playing in the off season to coming back from the injury, get back on the court again, and then have it interrupted again, it stunted, the growth, the momentum that we needed to go from year 1 to year 2. So I don't think health was a reason at the point you're talking about later in the season. No.
Okay, what's the plan for her in the off season? Is she going to Europe?
She is.
What's she doing?
Yeah, she is. And you're testing me right now. Where she's going? Poland. She'll be in Poland playing for a good organization in Poland. It's an important off season for her. She's really chomping at the bit to play, and so we're hopeful for her that she has a good, strong, healthy off season to carry into 2025.
Looking back throughout the season, a lot of good memories from the squad, and you look back to like the Commissioner's Cup through the playoffs. What are some of the best memories, favorite moments that come to your mind?
It's such a long season, guys. I think about training camp seems like 3 years ago. That Olympics in the middle of all that. I think for me, the memories are maybe the interactions on court for sure. Some of the relationships of going through battles together and learning about on the fly, where I'm learning about some of the new players that we got and who we are as a team, navigating and trying to tweak, improve, et cetera, and just that journey of the connections with the players. I think a lot of it's probably off court too. When I say off court, away from the game, practice situations and some of the we had a funny team. There was a lot of humor. As you can imagine, Courtney and T were at the forefront of most of it. But my memories are just around the connection that they had, their belief in each other, and their no matter what, they bounced back, no matter what. And whether it was me challenging them, at halftime, we have some good memories. This team was really, really good about taking some moments that were maybe difficult, maybe a coach player type difficult moments, turning that into situations or moments of levity where they laughed about it later. That to me was such a great sign of a team, and they didn't hold on to anything, anything, and instead, it became like the butt of jokes. Remember when you did this, it happened. I wouldn't remember, and then they would you don't remember, da da da, and they would laugh about different things that happened. That was just a special thing because a lot of times players hang on to stuff or they don't recover, from stuff, and I think this group was really special in that way. I had a lot of fun coaching this team.
Okay, and then looking forward, we've already talked about the upcoming prep, but when I had asked Fee and KMAC about, their work rest cycle for the off season. Takes a lot of rest before they start building up for next year. As a coach, what do you do to, from now until you have to start building for next year? Do you take any time off? What do you do to rest and get refocused and unplug?
This season is very different. This offseason that just started, actually hasn't officially started. When I walk out of here and finish my last two, it'll officially start. Very different than last offseason in that even prior to the end of last season, we were already working on the offseason. As you can imagine, this has been a lot in this year, and so you won't be able to find me for a while. My wife and my kid got concerned when I said that, but I don't know you'll be able to find me. But I won't be around. I won't be out. I won't be. I need to shut down, and whatever that brings, I'm not going to let myself move immediately into 2025. And so I can't tell you exactly when that will happen. We will be ready for the expansion draft. We will do what's necessary. Claire will take on a bigger role because again, I'm going to truly shut down for the first time, and I don't know how long. Very, very long time.
Cheryl, looking back on this season, breaking attendance records, having kind of the whole city rally behind the Lynx.
Yeah.
Just, you've been here for a long time. What was that like this season? Was it different than the last championships teams, or was it just kind of a special moment?
Yeah, I think the evolution of the league into the space that it got into in terms of the popularity, even before the season started, when Caitlin Clark announced that she was going to enter the draft, I remember, obviously I'm connected to the business side, and the wave of enthusiasm that came from a player that wasn't even going to play for the Lynx. And, we certainly knew some of the other players that were going to be in this draft. So there was a lot of excitement and momentum for the WNBA, but to see it actually translating business-wise across the league, whatever the reasons were, there's a lot of, as we all know, there's one really big reason, and then there's a lot of other reasons why. And I think the movement that we're in now, I think it's exciting. I think that for me, one of my biggest takeaways from this season is what you just said, with a number of times that I heard fans talking about being in bars, in the Twin Cities, and maybe not accustomed to the game, their willingness to put a game on, because that's a battle when we try to watch women's sports. When we go into just a bar, it's hard to find it, or even a willingness to put it on. To learn the frequency with which the games were on, sound on, people gathering together, having watch parties, as the season moved on, and we were, achieving the success that we were achieving, especially in the playoffs. The way the city supported us in terms of, signage, throughout the city. And unfortunately, no, the other teams didn't have that. They didn't. And that's a travesty when you think about it. And Jim Pete always said it. Man, people have no idea what they're missing. And we're going to look back on this and go, how in the heck? But it happened in the NBA too. There's some great players that were playing in front of 2,000 people back in the NBA back in the day. And so for me, that was a big thing, a part of the identity of the season for the Minnesota Lynx was, as we know, business-wise, one of the best years that we've ever had. But then also support-wise from the community, throughout the community, whether it was in arena or anywhere we went. The interest in the team and the buzz, was palpable. So that's part of what made it special too. Sorry we couldn't get a chance to celebrate one more time together with a parade. We were looking forward to that opportunity. But hopefully, fans know how we felt about them and how much we appreciated, because they were a big part of our success.
And then Cheryl, this one's just switching gears a little bit, but every player that has come to this podium has just spoken of just how much trust they have in you, your leadership, how much they enjoy being here. As kind of the head of the organization, the head coach, what does that feel like, hearing that kind of feedback from your players so consistently?
Yeah. I always like context, so I don't know how you guys set the question up. Like sometimes I'll be like, well, what the hell are they supposed to say? Are they going to tell you, she sucks? And I think we pride ourselves on trying to be an organization that is rooted in trust. And that if we tell you something's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen, in the grandest way possible. And so we've just, tried to lead in that way because that's how we want them to be. We want them to have, what we have as a staff, we want our players to have. And everything is rooted in trust. It's rooted in a passion for what we do. And you don't ever want those two things to be questioned. And so I'm happy that it's coming through for them and that they trust us a little bit.
Fee sat there a little while back and said she's never going to forget what happened at the end of Game 5. And she said it in a way that kind of gave you the feeling like she's kind of on a mission now. She's improved every year. She's gotten better at everything that she does. She took a break, a step, I think, even in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But what should the league be ready for if Fee is really on this mission?
Yeah. Well, like when you go through something like this and you don't really have a choice but to accept it, the outcome. You can know that it was an injustice. But at the end of the day, it's always how you handle things. Always. And one of the things that we told the team afterwards is like, you wish you could give them a good answer as to why it happened. Some of the things that ensued following the game were really unfortunate. That makes you question or feel let down by your league. But at the end of the day, one of the things that we told our team that the only choice we have is to use it as fuel. And that's not something I have to talk Fee into because I felt exactly the same when I was looking into her eyes after the game. How not disappointed, how angry, and to feel like something was maybe going to burn inside of her. But that's what players have. I mean, there's different things that bring motivation. USA basketball is always a great motivation when you don't make the team. It's well documented. People use it. And so there's moments in people's career that maybe this is one, that catapults her. It's already a great space that she's been in. She was the best player on the floor in the finals, which is pretty incredible. I'm super proud of all the ways that she's improved, but I am super excited about what's next for Fee.
Just a moment ago, you were mentioning about the business aspect of things, and this is the first season where you're able to charter flights instead of being on commercial. Can you just discuss about the importance of that in league growth and also in preparation for the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer. We've known it for years. I'm thrilled that it happened in an Olympic year because, that would have been really, really hard if we were not chartering this year, with the 40 games, et cetera. I mean, I can speak from my vantage point of how, what I saw, mental health, physical health, things that they didn't have to worry about anymore that would be a drain. And I think it increases the quality of the product for sure. And so came at a good time, glad it happened. There's, to concentrate, players always say that when you come and play for an organization like ours, all you have to worry about is playing. You don't have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from because you've got a chef. You've got all the resources to train basketball-wise, to prepare your body sports performance-wise, nutritionally. Our medical staff, our coaching staff, they literally just show up. Well, that's a big part of charter, is a big part of making that happen on a larger picture, that you can now focus on just playing. and that getting to and from a game doesn't have all of the drain, the drag, and I mean, from there, I don't. I think that's probably the most obvious thing.
Yeah, Cheryl, it's no secret that this team didn't get a whole lot of national attention pretty much until you got to the finals, and that you guys weren't really happy with that. And a lot of players spoke about using it as motivation throughout the season. Now that you've been in the finals, and though you didn't get the result you wanted, a lot of eyeballs are on this team now. What would you like those folks who got to look at you guys for the first time to take away from, or to take away after seeing you?
The folks that saw us for the first time
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
that saw the way this team played together, and the way it defended, and the way it and the way the players were there for each other. I mean, those kind of things.
I mean, I think people that watch this play. I mean, I have heard from people I haven't heard from in years, but inspired by their play, the way that they played, both tactically in terms of coverage and schemes. So coaches that I haven't heard from for years, and fans that have said the joy that they got from watching our team. And I shared this with our team because I wanted them to understand the impact that they've had. That's what I think people saw. You know, that it was hard not to tune in to watch this if it was the first time and go, that's a really fun team to watch. And how they do it, you know, is something that draws you to them. And so I mean, I don't necessarily have anything to say to people that are watching for the first time. It's just I think it was palpable, and we made an impression. And it's a style of play that I think people kind of look at and go, we'd like to emulate that. And that's saying something. And I think for our starting point next year will be with greater expectations. But I think the group is ready for that.
Yeah, and you mentioned the other night that this shows that there's another way to do it beside assembling a super team.
Yes.
How much satisfaction, pride do you get in the fact that you did it a different way?
You have no idea.
Try me.
You have no idea. We've been carrying, there's a lot of things that you guys don't know, and you can't know. It's just the way it is. And last night was not an impulsive feeling that I had. We have been challenged as an organization to return ourselves to the place that we got to this year. It's been well documented, free agency, et cetera, et cetera. I think to accomplish it in the climate that we're in now is something that I hope our organization understands how hard it is to do. I hope other organizations that see us do things in the way that we have, again, in the climate that we're in, as it seems that things are shifting, rules are shifting, accountability is non-existent, et cetera, that in the market that we're in, and the opportunity that we had to show that you could build a team differently, I think was incredibly important for the WNBA. Incredibly important for those that are also trying to do what we had a chance to do this year. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks to all of you. Appreciate all the relationships and time we spent together. Let's see else here. How do I like the Lion King? This wasn't my first time, so of course I liked it. I like seeing Olive.